I still think that we're one of the worst countries for looking after our old age pensioners. I really do. And you know what? I don't care if they're sitting in £1 million house. They've got there. They've done it. You know, why are we penalising certain ones for going, well, you're wealthy, so you shouldn't have it? I mean, it's up to them if they have it or they don't. They're entitled to it, and therefore they should get it. And I think there's a lot more people in need than are coming out in this.
Janet, do you think you should have the winter fuel allowance?
I think the winter fuel allowance, I would agree with Labour, should be means tested. It's a good idea, but I think the reality of means testing the winter fuel allowance is it would cost more to means test it than the money you would get back. So it's far easier just to pay the winter fuel allowance out because the bureaucracy involved is ludicrous. And let's look at the National Health Service. 3/4 of the beds in hospital are taken up by people over 65, by pensioners. They are the prime users of the National Health Service and of the care services in this country at a time when they're being cut. The care services and social care is being cut, and people have got visits lasting 10 minutes if they're lucky. And, you know, it's just ridiculous to have this vision of pensioners as somehow living a wonderful life in big houses and, you know, with money in the bank. It's just not true.
Nobody's... Well, sorry, Jamila, you go on.
I do hear what you're saying, and I do think it's very important to look after our pensioners. I do also believe that it's important that we don't disregard our young. There are people who cannot get on the property ladders, people who can't afford to go to university, and I think that it is so important for us to invest in the future, which is these young people. If they can't build a life for themselves, what does that, you know, how does that leave it for future generations? They're not going to make it to...
Hang on a minute.
But see, when you say pensioners, it's just this amorphous lump.
Well,
and it's not about taking
everybody
away...
over 65 doesn't have to subsidise everyone under 30.
No, I'm not saying...
When I left college, no one subsidised me. I didn't go around with a begging bowl.
You're not listening, though. You're not listening. It doesn't have to be a case of take away, but a balance does have to be made.
But hang on, the balance in this country is not between the old people and the young. It's between the taxpayers and the tax evaders. And the fact of the matter
Janet, you just shifted the goalpost about 300 feet.
Exactly. Because I want to win the argument by saying that the money evaded in tax in this country would more than pay for old people to have the proper care that they need and for young people to go to university. We keep demonising one section of the population as if they're ruining it for another. The people that are ruining this country are the tax evaders, not old people or young people. You know, young people can't get on the housing ladder. That's not the fault of old people. What do you want to do? Go around the country and chuck everyone out who's got a house with more than 2 bedrooms who's not using all of them?
No, I just think we have to start to look at facts, and the facts are that the baby boomer generation, of which you're a part, you know, had many opportunities. I don't get up in the morning and feel guilty for being alive and being a baby boomer.
It's amazing. I come from a very poor background, and I represent a role model for loads of people because I work hard all my life and I own my house. So I'm not going to apologise.